really what's going to be today is we're going to take all the concepts that we have learned so far, slope, y-intercept, function notation, and we're going to put them really nicely into some of the word problems that we will see today. So this first example, really just think of this as just kind of review of all the things that we've done so far in quarter one. And then when we go to the next example with the cars, then we can put these problems into context. Okay, so now these numbers are not arbitrary anymore. They're tied in with some sort of units, like gallons or miles, or you guys will see today. Okay, so we got our slope equation, so which is nice. We're going to be using a lot of that today. We also have our linear function y equals mx plus b. Notice that it can also be written as f of x equals mx plus b. It is the same thing. Let's do a review section. So number one from last class. Suppose f of x is a linear function such that f of 4 is equal to 5 and f of negative 6 is 22.5. First, A, calculate the slope of the function. Okay, so what we can do is just rewrite what's given. That's one way to do this. And last class, like I said, if you want to rewrite it into coordinate form, please go ahead and do so. This is 4, 5, negative 6, 22.5. First x's and the first y, x1, y1. Second x and second y, x2, y2. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Please tell me what to write as a class. As a class, go. 22.5. Yes, all over.
Negative 6
minus 4. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, apologies, I'm not going to have enough room. Let me just put my work over here. Okay, now you guys will know one of my weaknesses. I don't think I can add and subtract properly in my head. Someone help me with 22.5 and minus 5. Thank you, 17.5. Negative 6 minus 4 should be negative 10, correct? Is that correct? Okay. Then I need more of your help. Can someone divide these two numbers? Negative or positive? Negative 1.75. Good. Okay. So in our second sentence, it says use decimals. You can convert this back into a fraction. That's totally fine. But because the second sentence says use decimals, we're just going to leave it like this for right now. Okay. All right. So nothing new at all, because we've done this work at least like twice, 3 times in the previous classes. Okay. Any questions on part A? Any questions? If no questions, here is part B. Find the y-intercept in coordinate form. Well, one way is we're going to use y equals mx plus b. This time around, I'm going to use f of x equals mx plus b, which is the same thing. We already know our slope, which is negative 1.75, and then I'm going to plug that in. Okay. Your f of x is your y value. So I'm just going to put a y over here just so that you guys know, okay, that's the y value. Okay, well, we have 2 choices for our y values. The first one that says something, I'll pick that. Pick a y value, you guys. Okay, so I heard 5 first. Let's just do 5. Okay, so we're going to do 5 over here. But because I heard 5 first, what has got to be our x value? 4. It cannot be negative 6. Okay, so again, one more time. If you pick 5, you got to pick the x value that's associated with that y value. You cannot mix and match. So you have to pick the 4 over here. And then some of you guys are forgetting to do plus b. So this is what we're trying to solve for. That's still going to be a variable. Okay. No matter what x or y value you choose as a pair, it will come out the same. I need help with negative 1.75 times 4. 7?
Negative 7.
Negative 7, thank you. Negative 7 plus b. Okay. And now we can solve for b. What's the opposite of negative 7? So regular 7 or positive 7 on both sides. B is equal to 12. Okay. We need to just write this in coordinate form. Coordinate form is 0, 12. This will pass the y-axis. Okay. So again, nothing new on parts A and B. Nothing new. We're moving on to part C now. What is the linear symbolic representation of f of x? It's such a huge word that just means equation. So when you guys see the word symbolic representation, it just means equation. Symbolic meaning all of the x's and the letters that you're going to use. Since they want us to use f of x, we're going to start with f of x first. And this is where we're going to plug in our slope and our y-intercept. What was our slope again one more time? Negative 1.75x, good. And then what was the y-intercept that we solved for? 0, 12, so we're going to go plus 12. Okay, so this was from part A, and this was from part B. Again, nothing new. We have done this work before. We plug in the slope, we plug in the y-intercept, and bam, here is our equation. Once you guys have your equation, then what D and E are just follow-up equations, follow-up questions using the specific equation that you guys have made for part C. So let's go ahead and do part D now. Now that we got the equation or symbolic representation, using this, you found on the previous question, find f of 100. So this is a past problem that we have done before. We're going to plug in 100 for every x that we see. So f of f of 100 is equal to negative 1.75 times 100 plus 12. I want to remind you guys, f of 100 is a name. You plug in 100, and we're going to figure out what the outcome is. Well, I definitely need help with this. What is negative 1.75 times 100? Negative 175, thank you. And can someone, oh, I keep writing a 2, sorry. Negative 175. Sorry about that, that's a 5. Negative 175 plus 12. And then can someone help me do that? Negative 163. Okay. F of 100 is equal to negative 163. Again, also nothing new. We have done this type of work before, especially on our earlier days of quarter 1. This might be something new, but it won't be too new after we set it up. Okay? After this, we'll take a mental health break of 2 minutes. Using the symbolic representation you found on the previous question, all right, find the value of x when f of x equals negative 425.5. So let's go ahead and rewrite this equation one more time. This one we have to be careful of where to plug things in. On part D, we plug in 100 for x. So we're going to plug it in here, and we're only doing PEMDAS on the right side. Because they told us what f of x is, negative 425.5, we're going to cross off f of x and put negative 425.5 because they're telling us that's what it is. So cross off the left side fully and plug in negative 425.5. Now, this looks like an equation that we have done the first week of school. 2 more steps. What's the next step, please? Minus 12 on both sides. Thank you. Minus 12, minus 12. Now I need help with the left side. What is that?
440, -440.5.
Negative 440.5. Can someone confirm?
No, negative 37.
Negative 437.5? Okay. Can someone confirm that? Yes? Okay. Okay, and then we're just going to drop down to negative 1.75x. One more step, you guys. What are we going to divide both sides by? Negative 1.75. So whatever number is in front of the x, you grab all of that number and divide that on both sides. And can someone do this division over here? What is that? 250? Thank you. 250. Can someone confirm that? It's 250? Okay. So even though part E was like the new thing, substituting f of x for a value, the other 4 parts were not. And this is how the flow of questions is going to be. So when we do the next round of notes, there's going to be some context in that. Like there's going to be a word problem associated. But please follow these steps. We're going to find the slope using the equation. We're going to get the y-intercept using f of x equals mx plus b. We're going to take these two and make our symbolic representation. Once we have our symbolic representation, we can use that for the follow-up questions that will come up.